Hey, what's up, everybody? Gonna do a classic rock reaction, man. This is Led Zeppelin. So, a little bit different, this particular Led Zeppelin reaction. First off, I'm continuing with my, I guess you will call it, run of songs that are not very common among the Led Zeppelin albums or outtakes or wherever we find them. But I've actually had two other people send me two songs that I've not heard from Led Zeppelin. The first being Sunshine Woman, the second being Jennings Farm Blues. So I'm going to check those out. Now, in addition, and as the title of this reaction is entitled Masterclass, I'm going to have a little fun with y'all, man. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask you a question. Now, the third song on this reaction is Dazed and Confused. That's Jimmy Page with the Yardbirds. Now, that particular reaction, that particular song is attached to this question that I'm going to ask you. So this is the scenario. First two reactions are going to be for the two songs that I've not heard before, and then we're actually going to get into the masterclass element. What the hell does that mean? This is your masterclass. You are the instructor, the teacher. I'm your student. As your student, I'm going to be asking you a masterclass question, and you are going to educate me, and you're going to give me the answers that's probably floating around in your head. All right? So this question, I can't seem to find the answer to on my own. I can probably find it if I focus and research for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, but not when I got 20,000 subscribers that probably have the damn answer. So this is your masterclass. I'm going to ask you that question. You're going to have to stick around until probably the second portion of this reaction to get that question. All right? So I'm going to have some fun with y'all today. All right, man. So, sorry, I'm tangled up here. Our first song is Sunshine Woman. I first want to give a shout out and thanks very much to Harry Rogers. Harry, thank you. I appreciate you sending me the link. And Harry says here, been with you from the beginning, STB. Bet you've never heard this one. Peace and welcome back to the tube. All right, Harry, thank you, man. And the title isn't familiar, so let's see if I've heard it, man. Sunshine Woman. Led Zeppelin, Sunshine Woman. Let's get it. This is an old blues track, man. Why am I not surprised? This is a mix of blues songs. It's a good harmonica player, isn't it, Dad? I describe him as adding layers and dimensions to shake like that. Three instrumental solos in one short song. Damn, man. Yo, that was a shit ton of blues songs all rolled into one song, man. Excuse my squeaky ass chair. 3 minutes and 10 seconds. In 3 minutes and 10 seconds, these guys got in. I'm feeling like 7 or 8 blues songs, and they got in 3 instrumental solos in one 3 minute 10 second song, man. Damn, that shit was great. Very, very unpolished. Definitely not from the studio, but all the same, it's got the signature sound in there. It's got the charm. I mentioned John Paul Jones as having that element where he adds layers and dimensions to Led Zeppelin. His presence is just a wonderful feature where it comes to Led Zeppelin. Not always as notable as the other 3 shooting stars, but his presence there, it's the glue, it's that magical elixir, it's that charm of Led Zeppelin. Having him there in that lineup is just such a necessary element. He's the unsung hero. He's the silent assassin of the group. You know what I'm talking about? I really, really like him for that. So now, damn, what a song. I would have to turn this shit over to my pops and have him dissect how many blues songs are in this. It's beyond me. But yo, man, unbelievable that these guys. I'm gonna actually coin my father that these guys at the time being kids have such a command of all of these great old soul, blues, gospel tracks. It's as if all 4 of them sat around for a better part of their youth, just listening and absorbing. It makes me wonder. I like to try and visualize how much time these guys spent just absorbing all of the old stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it's as if they can just create this shit at will. It blows me the hell away, I gotta say. Yeah, I gotta have my pops listen to this and dissect this shit for me and tell me exactly how many blues songs, soul songs, he recognizes in all of these passages. I'm recognizing them, and I know that I'm missing some. So I gotta turn it over to him, man. All right, so on to my structure. I don't want to talk too long, because my masterclass question to y'all is going to take a little time, and it's going to take a little time to explain. So let's go straight to Sunshine Woman and get an idea and background for this song, man. Sunshine Woman. BBC. Okay. Sunshine Woman appears on the BBC Sessions. BBC Sessions is a compilation album featuring studio sessions and a live concert recorded by English rock group Led Zeppelin for the BBC. It was released on the 11th of November in '97 by Atlantic Records. Disc 1 contains material from 4 different 1969 BBC sessions. Disc 2 contains most of the 1st of April 1971 concert from the Paris Theatre in London. Disc 3 was only included in a limited run of album releases and features rare interviews from 69, 76 and 77, and 1990. Countless bootlegs of these recordings circulated for years before the official release. This release was widely welcomed by Led Zeppelin fans as it was the first live release since The Song Remains the Same in 76. Man, almost 2 years and I still haven't finished it. The Song Remains the Same. Can you believe that? Others have criticized the decision to edit some of the songs and drop others that were recorded for the BBC. Most notable are one session from 1969, which included the unreleased song Sunshine Woman, and about 7 minutes of the Whole Lotta Love medley from 1971. The album was re-released in September of 2016 as the complete BBC sessions with further BBC recordings, including the Sunshine Woman session. If they're calling this a session, that means that it isn't just some 3-minute long track. I'm guessing that they've probably got lots more recordings of this particular song, probably stretched it out into an extended jam or something like that. When I hit the live stuff, well, I think I'll first finish The Song Remains the Same, and then I'll hit the live stuff. And I don't know if BBC will be the first. I'm gonna have to determine where to start after I've completed The Song Remains the Same. If it's indeed starting with the BBC and then going from there. Basically, I'm just gonna count on you to kind of feed me as I go. Okay, I've completed The Song Remains the Same. Now, where do I start? Where do I go from there? And I'm just gonna go like that. There's enough Led Zeppelin fans out there that knows their material and knows what's appropriate for me in regards to the live stuff. It's a completely new dimension of the rabbit hole. So that's it for Sunshine Woman, man. Let's get on to our second track, and that being Jennings Farm Blues. First, I want to give a shout out and a thanks very much to Alan Paro. Alan, thank you very much, man. Thank you for the link provided. And Alan says here, there's a cool tune called Jennings Farm Blues I think you should check out. Great channel, by the way. All right, Alan, thank you, man. I don't even recognize your name, man. Nice name, by the way. Are you a new subscriber? Because I don't recognize your, 20,000 subscribers. I'm not going to remember all. But you got a pretty cool name, so I would remember that. Whenever I get email notifications, I see that, okay, I've got a new subscriber, and I make a point of looking at the name. And a lot of the names I can remember just from that mental picture. But I don't recall your name, Alan. Are you a new subscriber? Let me know. All right. So, Jennings Farm Blues, Led Zeppelin. Long ass track too, almost 7 minutes. All right, man. Jennings Farm Blues. Let's get it. Hey, this is, yeah, that's the Blue-Eyed Merle song. That's Stomp Song from Led Zeppelin 3. We're on your stomp. Damn, that took a long time. Am I the only one who thinks they would have been hella successful if they didn't have focus? This is a great example. they done, or are they just... Okay. They're done. Yeah, they're obviously just fooling around here. Fooling around, having fun. Just doing whatever they feel like doing. Why? Because they can, you know? Obviously, that's what this is, man. Some sort of a warm-up or something of that sort. Yo, excellent. Masterful as always, man. Signature sound being there. You know, Bronyer stomp. Yeah, it's got that nice kind of stompy, folksy. But this particular instrumental doesn't have that kind of bounciness. It's just a nice extended jam, you know, and they're just going through the motions of it. And even that way, isolated as an instrumental piece, it's still a really excellent jam. I mean, if it basically fell out of the sky into your lap and you played it, you'd be like, damn, man, this is some good shit. It's got some thunder. It's taking you on a little bit of a trip. You know, if it had vocals, what would the song be saying to you? You know, and you could literally, in your mind's eye, probably fill in the vocals of sorts. You know, that's the great thing about instrumentals. I am very, very sure that these guys would have been quite successful as just being an instrumental band. I mean, you know, the jams, the riffs that they've got, yo, it would definitely keep your attention, you know, and I would consider it to be an exception to the rule. The rule being, if you get bored of instrumentals quickly, this would be the exception. Now, you might not listen to the album every single damn day, but once in a while, it's a really, really nice listen. It's got its place, right? You come home after a long ass day and you sit down and you just want to chill and unwind and not really focus on lyrics or anything like that. This goes in. There you go. Takes you on a trip, beer in your hand, you chill out, you unwind, and there you are. There you are, you know? So instrumentals like this would definitely have a place. And in my mind, it's a shame that they didn't do an instrumental album, man. Even of their recognized material, you know, even of the recognized stuff. I mean, just sitting there listening to Kashmir without vocals would still be cool. I heard that isolated track of Fool in the Rain, polyphonic. Sorry, unfortunately that reaction got blocked, but polyphonic, I did a reaction to that and he was isolating Fool in the Rain, and that was fantastic. And it was the first time that I heard Fool in the Rain, and I was saying to myself, oh my gosh, and it gets better because there's lyrics, right? But by itself, I was impressed. I was taken, you know, the drum beat and everything. Fantastic, man. Yeah, so point being, these guys would have really kicked some serious ass if they actually did nothing but instrumentals, you know? But not taking anything away from the relevance of Robert Plant. The guy definitely put them over into rock god status. So let's stick to my structure. Jennings Farm Blues. Jennings Farm Blues is a rough instrumental mix of the song Bronyer Stomp. Bronyer Stomp is a song recorded by Led Zeppelin for their third album, Led Zeppelin III, released in 1970. Background. The song is named after Bronyer, a house in Gwynedd, Wales, where the members of Led Zeppelin retreated in 1970 to write much of Led Zeppelin III after having completed a concert tour in North America. Bronyer means golden breast or breast of gold in Welsh, as in a hillside of gold. The cottage had no electricity or running water, but the change of scenery provided inspiration for many of the songs on the album, including Bronyer Stomp. Wow. How is that for being just so enveloped into your craft, you know? You leave the wife, you leave the kids, you leave the comforts and the familiarity of home to go into the rustic lands and spend some time. No running hot water, no electricity. You are devoted to your craft, let me tell you. Composition and recording. Jimmy Page and Robert Plant wrote Bron Your Stomp in 1970. It's a country music inflected hoedown, with lyrics walking in the woods with Plant's blue-eyed merle dog named Strider. Plant reportedly named his dog after Aragorn, often called Strider, from J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. The group recorded the song at Headley Grange using the Rolling Stones mobile studio. They completed it at Island Studios in London and Arden Studios in Memphis. Reflecting the rustic nature of their retreat, the song is largely acoustic. Led Zeppelin also recorded the song as an electric blues rock instrumental, Jennings' Farm Blues, a rough mix of which later surfaced as a studio outtake on a number of Led Zeppelin bootleg recordings. Jennings' Farm is the name of the property at Blakeshall on which the Plant family stayed in the early 1970s. Jennings' Farm Blues was released on the 2nd of June 2014 as part of the remastering process of all 9 albums. Alright, man. So that is Wikipedia song fact info on Jennings' Farm Blues. A really, really nice instrumental, man, of an excellent song. A song that I haven't listened to for a very, very long time. It took me a while to even remember the name of it. I gotta go back a little bit and kind of refresh. So, man, let us hit up our third track. And so, this third track is Jimmy Page doing Dazed and Confused with his band before Led Zeppelin. That's the Yardbirds. And this was just, I guess, right before the Yardbirds split up and went their different ways. And then Jimmy collected Led Zeppelin, and they became the new Yardbirds to fulfill the contract that was still open. So after we check out this track, I'm going to ask you my question. Class will be in session after that. So let us check out Dazed and Confused, the Yardbirds version. Live on French TV, it says, in 68. Let's get it.
Morning, les Yardbirds, pour la première fois j'attrape une baguette au vol. Dazed and Confused, un morceau des Yardbirds par les Yardbirds.
I'm dazed and confused. Is it stay, is it go? Give me a clue, cause I just want to know. Give me a clue as to where I am at. Feel like a mouse and you act like a cat.
This is the original song, man. I remember this song from when I was a kid. Jake Holmes.
I'm dazed and confused, I'm hanging on by a thread. I'm being abused, I'd be better off dead. Can't stand reason, I'm starting to crack. If you're out to get me, you're on the right track. Hey, 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 hey.
first time they're seeing the bow utilized on TV by Jimmy Page. That was short and sweet.
I'm dazed and confused, is it stay, is it go? I've been abused and I sure wanna know. Give me a clue as to where I am at. Feel like a mouse and you act like you can.
Dazed and confused, ébloui et troublé.
Okay, wow. The Yardbirds rendition of Dazed and Confused. Give it up to those guys. They really put in a great effort. You can tell that they were probably being stretched to their limits where it comes to the sound and all of that sort of thing. I mean, you're going from early Yardbird stuff. When did the Yardbirds hit the scene? Was it 64 or 65? And then in just a few short years, Jimmy comes along and just takes him in this direction. It must have been a shock to the system, man. Was that the first time that he used a bow on TV? That must have been trippy, man, if you're sitting at home watching that. So, I jumped the gun here when I got into this reaction. I didn't first, let me just backtrack, pull it back a little bit. I first have to give a shout out and a thanks very much to Sherry Cisco. Sherry, sorry about that, man. I was just a little too anxious to get onto it. Sherry sent me this link, and along with the link, Sherry, she sent me this note. She says, I remember you once asking where Jimmy got the inclination to go the heavy route. As a lifelong Zepp fan, I realized I didn't have the answer. One thing for sure though, he was very ready for Zeppelin, even a few years before. It's quite apparent when you watch this. That's what we just watched. This is Jimmy performing Dazed and Confused with the Yardbirds. Ask your patrons and subscribers. They'll have the answer for you. Enjoy. Sherry. All right. So that's where I got the idea of having this masterclass fun session with you, man, from Sherry. So let's have a masterclass, right? And the masterclass is in the form of you are the masters. You guys know your Led Zeppelin. I'm your student. And I'm going to ask you this question. And I want you to educate me and answer this question for me. And here is the question. How, when, and where was Jimmy Page inspired to go with the heavy sound? Here it is again. How, when, and where was Jimmy Page inspired to go with the heavy sound? Now, you think about this video that we just saw. I'm following the timeline as well too, because I really like the rock history element of things. Let's do a little recap. British invasion early, started around 62-ish. Around the middle point, you had the Yardbirds show up. Yeah, 64, the Stones show up. 65, I believe the Yardbirds, and then the Who show up. And then the British invasion, the momentum was starting to go downwards a little bit, more into a plateauing, where you had more like an occupation rather than an invasion. You know, you still had your Beatles, you still had your Stones, and of course your Who. Now along the way, the Yardbirds are trailing off, and I believe that they wanted to go in different directions because they wanted to more go towards the folk rock sound. You know, you had the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. They wanted to go in that direction. That leaves Jimmy now. How did Jimmy get this inclination to go towards the heavy? Because it had to have been a couple of years before even what we're seeing now. So Jimmy joins the Yardbirds in 66, and they're only around till I believe early 68, and then they split, and then the new Yardbirds is formed, and then Led Zeppelin, all in that short period of time. But where did Jimmy get the inspiration for the heavy sound? Because everyone is going towards the folk sound. Now Jimmy definitely has a knack for folk, and he's got that talent, but he chose to go in this direction, going towards the heavy sound. What were the inspirations back then that gave him that inclination? All right, so the Who were around in 65, and then you had Cream come around in 66. At the time, I believe there were the Doors and there was Jimi Hendrix. But I believe that Jimmy Page had this vision and this inclination to go heavy even before that. I would dare say probably in the early 60s is when he first got this in his head. That he was going to go in the direction, ultimately end up in a direction where he's going with this heavier sound. So my question is, where did he get this inclination to go towards a heavier sound? And I'm thinking of Vanilla Fudge. I think Vanilla Fudge weren't they contemporaries, or maybe they were around a year before? So he had this inclination early in the 60s, I believe. And so that's my question again. Who inspired this in him? Where did it come from? Because it's definitely blazing a trail. It's definitely being a pioneer and following your own path at that point, that early in the 60s. So that's my question to you guys. And I'm asking you this question. Let me tell you, I had some friends over, and one of my friends was kind of, in a fun way, being a little bit of a jerk and taking me to task. He's like, yeah, so, how's this Led Zeppelin walk going? You're not a tadpole anymore. I'm like, no, it's going great. I'm at this stage, and, these guys, they're admirable, they're pioneers, they're this. Oh, yeah? Why are they pioneers? Well, they revolutionized a movement, a sound. Oh, how did they do that? Where did the inspiration come from? So he was being a facetious jerk, but at the same time, I realized that I was struggling with the answers. I think I knew some of them, but I didn't have all of it. So that got me to thinking, all right, you know what? And with Sherry sending me this, I said to myself, I'm going to have me a masterclass session with you guys. So that's where all of this nonsense comes from. But that's my question. I want that question answered because I can go looking for it and I can probably spend days, maybe even weeks. It's certainly not itemized here in any readings on Wikipedia or Songfacts, anything like that. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of you out there have this information just swimming around in your damn head. So answer that question for me. How, when, where, and maybe who inspired Jimmy Page to go with the heavy sound? Because at that point in time, it's the road less traveled. It was definitely taking a chance. And obviously by his talent and what we're seeing through certain parts of Led Zeppelin 3 and some other albums, he definitely could have gone the route, followed the remainder of the Yardbirds towards the folk rock sound, because it was very popular and growing at that point. But I believe less tested was the heavier sound, the psychedelic sound. I mean, you know, he pulls that bow out and they start doing their thing. This is the Yardbirds. They're going psychedelic on you. And so at that early stage, I'm just wondering how readily embraced it was. Probably not as much as the folk rock sound, something that's a lot more welcoming. So going back to it, I believe this guy is definitely a great pioneer and a great visionary. And but I need to know how, when, where, who inspired Jimmy Page to go with the heavy sound. That's my question. That's my masterclass question. Answer that for me and I'll be very happy. You'll save me tons and tons of reading and time. So that's my fun that I'm going to have with you guys, man. I'm looking forward to your answers. Take as much time as you want. Normally I'll say, yeah, especially on YouTube, you know, please limit your responses to a paragraph, be considerate to others and that sort of thing. Now, I'm not saying to write me a damn novel, you know, write me a decent body of information if you have it. You know, not a damn novel, but, you know, at least maybe one. Take a second paragraph if you need to. Flesh it out if you have to. All right, you know what I'm talking about. So, I'm just scrolling down here, checking my notes here, man. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to continue to do with Led Zeppelin is just, I keep getting people sending me, hey, you haven't heard this. I'm sure you haven't heard this. So there's a lot of what I'm calling, not lost tracks, but tracks that I haven't heard anyway. And I'm going to continue with these tracks until I basically exhaust it. And then from there, I'm going to, well, the question is how many of these tracks are out there? That's the question. But going from there, after I've concluded that portion, I'm going to get into the live Led Zeppelin stuff. And once I get into the live stuff, I'll immediately finish The Song Remains the Same. And then I'll get into some of the other things. Maybe it's the BBC session after that. By the holiday season, I'll be doing the O2 Arena concert. And then into the new year, by then, if I have concluded all of the live stuff, I'll start on their solo works. I know that Jimmy was in the Firm, Robert had a successful solo career and whatnot, and so I'll get into some of their solo stuff. So that's basically the plan going forward, where Led Zeppelin is concerned, man. Anyway, so thanks very much for joining me. Thank you for indulging me in this very strange format. You're probably wondering, Masterclass, what the hell is this guy up to? Yeah, man, so again, answer that question for me. How, where, when did Jimmy get inspired to go with the heavy sound? Who planted that in his head? How long did he have it in his head? Was it early in the 60s, as I'm guessing it was? Another really quick footnote about this is, with the Yardbirds splitting up, and then Jimmy Page going his way, Peter Grant had joined him. How did Peter Grant and Jimmy get together? Is it through the Yardbirds? Was he already the established manager of the Yardbirds when Jimmy already came in? Or did they meet somewhere else in time? All the same, it doesn't matter how they got together. The fact that they got together is very important, because Peter, I believe, formed a safety umbrella for him to be able to do what he wants to do. And he protected his guys, you know. So Peter Grant, man, the 5th member of Led Zeppelin. One day I'm going to have to do a special feature on that guy. But anyways, answer those questions for me and I'll be very, very grateful. You'll take me from tadpole status and beyond. So anyways, you guys have yourselves a good one. Take care and I'll catch you in another Zeppelin reaction. Peace.